Hey everybody, it is Daniel from thecellularguru.com, and today I have the pleasure of bringing you one of the nicer looking Android devices to hit Canada in history. This is the Desire HD from HTC, and as you can see, it is enormous. This is a 4.3 inch capacitive touchscreen with a resolution of 480 by 800. And you can definitely tell the difference when you look at this thing versus when you are looking at, say, an iPhone 4 or any run-of-the-mill 3.5 to 3.8 inch display. This thing is just huge, and that will either be an attractive thing for you or potentially turn you off depending on how you like to use your phone. So let's just get started looking at the hardware. It has 4 capacitive touchscreen buttons at the bottom. It is the normal home, menu, back, and search in a very random order, as most Android devices are. There is a micro USB and a headphone jack on the bottom with a microphone. On the top you have just a single power button, really nice. It's not like the tiny one on the G2. It really is nicely placed. The right side is empty, and the left side has a similar volume rocker. There is a consistency to the design here that I like. It's very flat. A lot of the design has been taken from the Desire, the original Desire, and it seems like HTC is going with this for a lot of their new devices. And you can see the speaker grill here is very wide and narrow as well, and there's the sensor over here. Unfortunately, no front-facing camera, but perhaps that will be the Desire HD S or something of that ilk. So on the back of the device you'll find a very unique battery micro micro SD and SIM card combination. There are 2 separate slots here, and you just kind of remove this. I'm not going to do that because it took me a while to get them back on. So that is a nice design, but it's a little bit finicky. It does help keeping everything really slim in there, and this is taken from the HTC Legend design as well, which I really appreciate. I do prefer the G2 design, which has a hinge that you just kind of remove the battery cover and everything's accessible. You can see the huge 8 megapixel camera with dual LED flash and the prominent HTC logo with HTC Sense and Google on the bottom. It's also Dolby Mobile and SRS. What does that say? SRS Wow HD certified. So I guess you have some big sound coming out of this tiny speaker or something, or maybe just has some codecs for your headphones. Regardless, this is a very nice device. Before I show you the software, I just will compare it quickly. I have a Dell Streak here, which is a 5-inch so-called tablet, though it can be used as well as a phone. And you can see this is 5 inches. This is 4.3. The Streak is still quite a bit larger, a little bit thicker as well, and you're not going to really mistake the Streak for a phone. It'll be a little bit strange holding that up. So you can tell that 5 inches is too big for a phone and 4.3 inches is too small for a tablet, and I think that this is about the biggest you'll find a phone in the future, and they'll start delineating between anything bigger than 4.3 inches will be considered a tablet, which I don't have a problem with. So quickly, this is running HTC Sense like the Desire Z. This has a 1 GHz Snapdragon processor, unlike the HTC Desire Z, which has an 800 MHz. It's a different Snapdragon processor. Both of them are 2nd generation Qualcomm single core processors, so this is a little bit late to the game. This was released at the same time as the Desire Z, although this was released in Europe first and adapted for North American GSM. This is coming out as the Inspire 4G on AT&T as well. And the hardware, while still very up to date, it's a little bit lacking compared to the newer devices coming out, like the Atrix and various other Tegra 2 dual-core smartphones. But to be honest, I don't think Android really needs it unless you're running high performance games, and you will start seeing that in the next few months. But for what you can do currently on Android 2.2, this is about as fast as you need, and it is just buttery smooth. You can tell that HTC's loaded up a bunch of different widgets here. There's a music widget, there's a proprietary settings widget here. You can turn on mobile hotspot, Wi-Fi, roaming, etc. You have a picture frame here, you have your friends stream, you have your bookmarks, and on the left side your favorites and their own location mapping program. And this prompted me actually to download new maps right away. So as you can tell, HTC has bundled this to compete with Google's own maps and navigation software. But I haven't really used it yet. I have no need for it. Google's navigation software is pretty darn good as it is. So you can tell that this is the same sense as I showed you a while before. It's got your recent apps over here. When I loaded this device and I entered my Google sign-in information, it downloaded all of the apps that I downloaded previously on another phone, and I didn't even have to download them again. They just were there. They just appeared. So any purchased or non-purchased items that you've downloaded previously from a Sense phone, it'll pick it up and download them again, which is great because it's a bit tiresome going through all of your apps and having to re-download them all, especially if you don't have root, because then you can't use an app like Titanium Backup, which is here but it won't actually work. So that's because this phone isn't rooted and I'm not going to attempt it. So I'll just show you a little bit of the software. It comes with about 1.2 gigabytes of storage, and I've used about half of it, so I have about 700 megs remaining, and the 8 gigabyte SD card as well comes pre-installed. You can also see that this is actually running a fairly new version of Android 2.2.1, and the software number is 1.84, which is higher than what was previously released on the Desire HD in Europe. So no news on its hackability, but at this point it's not really necessary. This thing runs, as I said, like butter. And you can see here, I'm just going to compose an email, or rather a text message, and you can see that the screen is so big that they actually have directional arrows on the bottom, because you really don't need all this room with the keyboard. So it's a very, very spacious keyboard. This is the proprietary HTC Sense keyboard, and it is wonderful. I've used it for a long time, even on non-HTC Sense devices, because it's very accurate and it's multi-touch compatible. So for example, I'm going to see if I can just write something quickly here. This is a test text message to all the good viewers of this video. So you can see that it's got some good autocorrect as well. You know how you hear about Gingerbread installing better copy paste and text selection on Android 2.3 stock. This has been here and since 2.1, and I think I actually like HTC's implementation better, because it comes like in iOS with that zoom in function, so you know exactly where the cursor is, and it doesn't. Oh, and there you go. So you hold it down, and then you can select text, and just like in iOS, you drag the first and second little icon there, and you can select text and then copy or cut. So I really think that's probably one of the better implementations. I was looking now on the internet, and I'll just show you our website here, the Cellular Guru. This is running on Telus, and there you go. Let's just wait for that to load. So here is the Cellular Guru website, and I'm just going to load it up here. Should bring up the mobile site. And on Telus's network, this actually supports 14.4 megabits per second down. And Telus and Bell have a joint HSPA Plus network, and this is very fast, and along with the speed of the phone, I think it's a killer combo. So let me load up a non-mobile site. I always do NewYorkTimes.com. Not sure why. It's got a lot of video. Oh, this also loads up the mobile site. Okay, so I'm going to go down here and again, this is not on the stock HTC Sense browser. This is on a browser called Dolphin HD, and loads up sites very well. Text is readable from all the way from here. You probably won't be able to see that because of my camera, but text is actually fairly legible, and you can see pinch to zoom is really smooth. I mean, this is not an iPhone here, so you're not doing an apples to apples comparison, but compared to other compared to other Android phones, this 1 gigahertz processor is very fast, and it's about the same speed as the processor in the Galaxy S series, and I'll show you just a quick comparison between this device and the Galaxy S from Bell. Similar size. This is a 4-inch screen as opposed to 4.3. The Galaxy S is a little bit thinner, but it's also not made of metal, so the Desire HD has a very premium feel. You can see that the Galaxy S does not have 4 capacitive touch buttons, just the 2 and the home button here, and it has the front-facing camera. My one major issue with the Desire is that it only comes with a 1230 milliamp battery, which is really not that big for a device of this size. You have to use a lot more juice to keep a screen 4.3 inches happy, and it goes very bright, and you can obviously adjust the brightness accordingly, but I worry that this is actually going to be a device that runs out of battery really quickly and will need a second battery. Now, if you're comfortable bringing a second battery with you, I should point out that it shouldn't be a problem, but just in case you're wondering. As for the fact that this is not really what you would call a brand new device, there are new devices coming out. I'll make the argument here that HTC Sense is a product in and of itself. I've shown you that with the Desire Z. I've also shown my support for HTC as a vendor who's differentiating Android enough to make it a really, really compelling product on its own. HTC Sense provides you with htcsense.com, which brings you a lot of new features. You can download ringtones, you can download music, you can track your phone if it ever gets lost, you can remotely wipe it, you can back up your text messages, your photos. It does a lot of things for you, and they've really gone out of their way to create a harmonious blend of their own widgets, their own apps, and stock Android compatibility. So you see here when you load up the widget screen, you have the choice of all the widgets and just HTC widgets. So here are the widgets that are pre-installed with my phone, and then up here you will see the HTC widgets. So you have bookmarks, calculator in many different colors, calendar, clock, many different kinds of clocks. These are all new to HTC Sense, actually. There's a FM radio, which you don't find on stock Android. You can have your text messages, you can have your mail. Now this supports Exchange by default, whereas there have been often people telling me that they have problems with Exchange on stock Android. Again, I'm not saying that stock Android doesn't have good Exchange support, but rather this is a little bit more comprehensive. So you can see there's stocks, there's sync, Twitter, weather, so tons and tons and tons of widgets here, and you can download more as well by going to their website. So you sign in to HTC Sense and you're good to go. So another thing that I'm just going to show you quickly is LinPack. And LinPack is just a test of the CPU speed, and as you can tell, it runs really quickly. 33 between, I've gotten 36 before. Really good results, and you can see that it's within some of the top results of let me just try this one more time. It's within the top results of all of the Android products. You can see that, you know, the best is 79, but that's not really typical. These are very overclocked. Here's one. Here's a Desire HD clocked at 1.9 gigahertz. Now that's obviously with your phone hacked and with a custom kernel, so you're not going to find the same. But it's, you know, as I said, it's very, very quick. The other thing I'm going to show you is a speed test. If I have it here, yep, speed test, and that is with the Telus network. This is a server in Oakville, Ontario, and let's begin. So one thing you'll notice is that ping time is ridiculously good. 106 milliseconds, that's what you would likely find on a wired network. Well, not really, but it's very, very good for a 3G network. So 3.5 megabits down, 2.5 megabits up. Let's test it again. Less than 100 milliseconds for latency. Pretty consistent results. One thing that you will never want for on the Telus network is speed. So that's it. If you guys have any questions, suggestions, comments for the final review, just let me know and I will try and look into it for you. This again is the Telus Desire HD from HTC, and it's running HTC Sense on Android 2.2. And that's it. Talk to you soon, guys.